LMP1 family, welcome to another episode. Today, I have Karina here with me on Chatting with Steph. We're going to discuss her experience as a sibling of someone who does suffer from mental illness and get her perspective. So, first question I have for you is, what were your first thoughts, feelings, or reaction when you learned of your sister's diagnosis?
So I'll say it was kind of like two different points because she was diagnosed with initially depression, and we had always thought, just being around her, like my husband would always say, oh, she's bipolar, but she had never got that diagnosis. So we figured when she initially, I think she got diagnosed with depression when she was maybe her early 20s after she had my nephew, and that didn't really come as a surprise to me because when we were younger I always knew something was wrong with her, but I didn't know what, because she would get into these fits where she didn't want to be bothered. She would get upset, she didn't want to talk about it and things like that. So I just kind of learned early on like kind of how to manage her, so that I didn't bother her, she could kind of get through her episode or whatever. But when she got diagnosed the second time, it was actually recently, I think within the last year, they told her that she did have some sort of bipolar. And that didn't really surprise me either because we had kind of seen those symptoms and we had read up on it before. So we thought that, but we were just kind of surprised that it took them so long to actually diagnose her with it.
Okay. So I know you said you yourself kind of learned how to manage, over time, but what are some things you also did, like to kind of educate yourself about her diagnosis, especially once with the most recent, just kind of in general, aside from you managing it, was there any like research you did to kind of gain a better, understanding and even manage better?
Yeah, I would say, and it's an ongoing thing. So I like YouTube, like everybody. I feel like you can learn everything from YouTube. So I go in there and I kind of will put in search words for different things related to mental health or bipolar, depression, things like that, just to see what different people are saying and get more insight. And then I'll go research it further in different other sources. And then sometimes I just talk to her and she'll send me things to read up on that she's like, I thought this was interesting or this might be helpful and things like that.
Okay. So I know you said too, which as our episodes you've learned ways to manage. What are some of those ways that you find works and you're best able to kind of support her?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges we have is I'm here in Hawaii and she's in Florida, so we don't get face-to-face interaction. But I think I'm so in tune with her and we're so close, like if I call her, I can tell when she's in a one of those moods. And specifically for her, like when she's in a mood, she like sleeps a lot. She doesn't want to be bothered, she just sleeps. And I can tell in her voice when something's wrong. So a lot of times I'll say, okay, well, I just call to check on you, call me when you have time, and she'll call me back. But I'll call my mom and talk to her and maybe be like, I think you just need to keep an eye on her. But I just, give her some time to let her contact me when she's ready. And then I just listen and let her talk because a lot of times she just needs to vent.
I think it's nice when you are the person that's in tune and, even for the other person vice versa, because it makes it a little more easier.
Right.
Because sometimes people are more apprehensive or they feel like they gotta kind of suffer in silence, so to speak, with that. So is there any encouragement that you would have for others who have, maybe they think, they may have something going on with them or they have had a diagnosis, and then maybe if there's anything you'd have like to encourage those that are maybe family members or friends of individuals that they know, suffer from mental illness?
I'll say a big thing is just to maybe seek help, talk to other people who are dealing with the same, or that are dealing with those issues, because they can provide a lot of insight, or people who have family members are dealing with that because they can give you insight that you may not know. For me, like I often say, my daughter has a lot of my sister's personality, and she's very sensitive, and I see a lot of things in her that I saw with my sister growing up. So for me, I am trying to keep an eye on her to see if she's going to develop those same things and then try to intervene early. But I learned that from talking to somebody else that, gave me that advice that, hey, just keep an eye on it, and then that way if she needs help, you can do it early on versus later. So I think the key is, one, to listen to the person. Don't always try to give advice immediately, but just be a sounding board, because sometimes they just need to vent. And then just be there and kind of pay more attention and see what the patterns are, and that way you can pick up more quickly when they are having that episode, and then just talk to them and see how they feel and what they feel like, what kind of support they feel like they need. Because sometimes they'll tell you like, hey, I just need some time.
Yeah.
Or, they may just say, I need to talk. Or, a lot of times they'll tell you what they need, but you have to listen. A lot of people don't want to listen. They just want to talk.
Yeah. They, listen to respond.
Right.
Instead of really, because too, even if you're dealing with, let's say like you were dealing with me and another person, just because maybe we share a diagnosis, what I need, what they need is going to be completely different.
Right.
So, is there anything else you would like to share, just regarding mental health, or that you think, could help our viewers?
I think it's important to talk about it. I like the fact that you started a whole conversation about it. I think a lot of people are scared to talk about it, but if you never talk about it, you can't treat it.
Yeah.
And there are so many misconceptions about mental health awareness, or mental health in itself. I just think it's something that we need to talk about more, and that's the only way to heal it.
Yeah,
or, try to get some help with it.
Yeah, and get more support.
Right.
So that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Karina, for being a part of this.